flames at Beauval, a look at the fire threatening the community and efforts to fight it. Anxiously awaiting updates. When will evacuees get the information they're looking for? And a raise for minimum wage earners in Saskatchewan. How far will it go and what it means for businesses' bottom line?
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We're getting a closer look at a northern Saskatchewan village that's being threatened by a wildfire. Yesterday, we heard flames reached Beauval, a community about 450 kilometers north of Saskatoon. According to the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency, the fire looks to have gone around the community, but as CTV's Stacey Hine tells us, crews are still on the ground protecting homes.
We're at a roadblock about 5 kilometers south of the village of Beauval. Behind me, a plume of smoke. The flames from the muskeg fire reaching the community around 5 o'clock yesterday evening. But so far, no homes have been lost.
To see that flame entering my community, it was, like I said, it was heartbreaking. But the angels on the ground put up that firefight. We got homes to come home to. And
the mayor showing us just how close the fire got to homes in the village. This concession stand and car at the community recreation fields among the few losses. Now crews can be seen fighting flare-ups, while sprinkler systems are spread out in the area. As water bombers and helicopters battle the blaze from the sky. Local MP Buckley Belanger says saving the village took a community effort.
What we saw was a heroic effort from the local people of Beauval, including the mayor. The mayor is out there fighting fire till 2 o'clock in the morning.
But the mayor of Beauval says they're not in the clear yet.
all that smoke, that's just north of the village, just less than half a kilometer away from us. And the fire line on the edge of the road that's flaring up, that's what they're battling right now.
As of Friday morning, the muskeg fire stretches 95,000 hectares, larger than the city of Calgary and 4 times the size of Saskatoon. Crews are continuing to put out hot spots. They're also watching the weather closely and hoping for rain. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Beauval.
Meanwhile, Beauval evacuees who arrived in Saskatoon this week were nervously waiting for updates. As Keenan Sorokon reports, a sudden change in weather made for a stressful night from afar.
Video coming out of Beauval shows the fight to save the village and just how close the flames came. Evacuees sent to the Travelodge in Saskatoon were in disbelief.
We never thought it would hit Beauval, but it did.
Tony Alcrow spent much of the last month on vacation before he was told he couldn't go back home.
Kind of disappointing. Miss my stuff. Hoping my house doesn't get burned down. I'm just praying by the day that the fires are gone and rain comes by.
It appears those prayers have been answered. Steve Roberts with the SPSA says because of fire lines, sprinklers, and hard work from people on the ground, a shed and a vehicle near the ball diamonds were the only structures lost in the fire.
But the fire actually moved right adjacent to the town area. We had not done all of those extensive measures and not had structural fire departments to put out spot fires. We may very well have had some structural losses.
But not everyone is satisfied with how the evacuation was handled. On Thursday, the SPSA had this to say.
This shouldn't be taking any major runs towards the community with the west winds. It will wslowly encroach southward.
They were thinking that wouldn't hit the community up until Monday, which gave us 4 days. Well, actually, it was 4 hours.
Roberts says a small weather system passed through and shifted the winds south into town for 8 hours. Some evacuees were sent to North Battleford, but then were told to go to Moose Jaw instead because hotels could only accommodate one-day stays. As Saskatchewan's wildfire season rages on, the more than 900 evacuees scattered across the province are hoping for some relief in the days ahead for a safe return home. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
As the wildfires burn in northern Saskatchewan, Saskatoon and Prince Albert are seeing poor air quality. This morning, an air quality warning was in effect with the air quality health index at 10 or high risk for both cities. This afternoon, Saskatoon's dropped to 4, which is considered a moderate risk. But further south, Regina and Estevan are seeing levels of 10. In fact, the poor air quality pushing back the start of the Rider game tonight. The smoky conditions are expected to improve tomorrow, with Saskatoon and Prince Albert's air quality expected to be low risk. Well, Jeff, we definitely felt that smoke earlier today.
We certainly did, and it ramped up in a hurry. Early in the morning, low risk around 2. The air quality index was around 2 or 3. And then by the time when I think we hit about 9 a.m., it was at 10, and it was very, very noticeable. And as the day wore on, though, the air quality improved in Saskatoon, and it is slowly improving in other parts of the province as well, but not down south. So right now, we do anticipate low air quality risk for Prince Albert and Saskatoon moving into tomorrow, but we'll have more on that later on.
More than 3,000 drivers were stopped as part of a 2-day traffic initiative by Saskatchewan police. On Wednesday and Thursday, the combined traffic services section with RCMP officers from several detachments and police from Saskatoon and Regina setting up a check stop along Highway 11 at Chamberlain. 15 drivers were issued tickets, roadside suspensions, or had their vehicles impounded for recent cannabis use. A handful of drivers were also caught driving after drinking. Police were also checking to ensure vehicles and campers are roadworthy, loads were secured, and that people were buckled up.
2025 has been a very deadly year on our roads in Saskatchewan, roads and highways. We've had 40 motor vehicle deaths in our province, and that was between January and May. 17 of these were a direct result of somebody not wearing their seatbelt.
Police were also watching for people with a lead foot. 29 people were ticketed for speeding. A Regina mother who launched a hunger strike calling for a search of the landfill says she feels progress is being made. She spoke outside Regina Police Headquarters today as she fights to find her missing daughter. Jacob Carr has an update.
22 days ago, Michelle Bear started a hunger strike outside of the Regina landfill, urging the Regina Police Service and the City of Regina to carry out a search of the facility for her daughter Rochelle's remains. Rochelle Bear went missing in 2013, later determined to be a victim of a homicide. Clayton Eichler pleaded guilty to second-degree murder in Rochelle's death, but her body was never found. On Friday, Michelle read a statement saying some progress has been made since her fast began.
I want to reestablish communication with the investigators and will continue communicating with them to bring Rochelle home. I would like to say thank you to all the people for their love and support over the past 4 weeks, and I hope no mother has to go through this ever again.
Standing behind Bear are several supporters, including Chantel Poitras, who wore a t-shirt donated by a designer from British Columbia who knew Rochelle before she went missing.
So wearing these shirts represents justice for Rochelle Bear and her mother, Michelle Bear. I believe it is a powerful statement to make. And we're just here showing our support.
In response to the rally at RPS headquarters, Acting Chief of the Regina Police Service, Laura Lee Davies, provided a statement saying investigators met with Michelle Thursday to talk about the investigation, Michelle's ideas on how to move forward, and what police can do to help. City Councillor Sarah Turnbull was also on hand, expressing her support for Bear's cause.
But really where it stands right now is they don't have the evidence in a place where they feel comfortable advocating to dig up the landfill, and the evidence has to be in place.
Bear ended her statement by sending prayers to all mothers and families that still need answers and are waiting with questions. For now, her biggest question, where her daughter is, remains unanswered. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
RCMP are looking for a man wanted for a string of charges, including sexual assaults. A warrant has been issued for 27-year-old Andrew Aubuchon, who is also facing charges of forcible confinement, choking, and assault. Aubuchon is wanted by Isle Lacrosse RCMP and is known to be in the area as well as Saskatoon and Green Lake. He could be driving a black Toyota RAV4. If you see him, do not approach him and instead call your local police service or RCMP. More people are working in Saskatchewan than ever before. The latest job numbers from Statistics Canada show the province added more than 20,000 jobs compared to the last year. As Wayne Mantika reports, the growth comes with news of a modest rise to the minimum wage.
Javier Valera is part of a growing workforce in Saskatchewan. He's employed as a technician at Young's Equipment in Moose Jaw.
My wife and I, we're looking for a better place to raise our kids. We have 4 kids. And since Peru is having a difficult situation in a political way, we decided to migrate to Canada.
Saskatchewan recorded the lowest unemployment rate in Canada last month at 4.9%. Qualified workers are hard to find. Young's Equipment has participated in several global employment fairs facilitated by the provincial government.
Once we've identified a potential employee, they have done a tremendous job in giving them all the information they needed to make the immigration process very smooth.
Saskatchewan added 20,500 jobs year over year in June. The government says more people are working in the province now than ever before.
And the fact that there is that demand for labor that's coming, and that's coming because of economic activity, construction being one of the key ones here in this part of the world. I know several contractors that if they could hire more people, they would.
To attract entry-level workers, Saskatchewan is increasing the minimum wage by 35 cents hourly on October 1st to $15.35. It'll be second only to Alberta for the lowest in the country, although Saskatchewan expects that this province's lower cost of living will compensate for that. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Saskatchewan health officials are warning of a potential measles exposure risk in the town of Rosn. The Saskatchewan Health Authority says anyone who went to the Rosn Gas Plus on Highway 312 between 6:45 a.m. and 9:15 a.m. Wednesday may have been exposed to the highly contagious virus. The SHA says measles spread easily through the air and can live up to 2 hours in the air or on surfaces in the space where a person has coughed or sneezed. Call Healthline 811 if you believe you may have been exposed, are unvaccinated, unsure about your vaccination status, or if you develop symptoms. The 4-11 Saskatchewan Rattlers have just 4 home games left in the regular season. John Flatters has more on a team looking to build off some recent momentum.
The Saskatchewan Rattlers have been in some close contests all season. On Sunday, their efforts were rewarded with a home win against the Ottawa Blackjacks.
I think every game is motivation for us to clean up some details, but something like that just gives you a boost. You know, the way the team fought, the way that we competed, means we still have more things to clean up to make sure that we're putting ourselves in continuously better positions, but we'll take that energy and hopefully build on into this one.
The win featured 2 new single-game franchise records, a 40-point game from Jordan Bowden and Nate Pierre-Louis picking up 14 assists. It also saw Anthony Tigakili become the Rattlers' all-time leading rebounder.
That's just a testament to his hard work and work ethic for the past couple seasons. So, you know what? All these guys have made huge commitments to our team this year, and they've stayed dedicated through the wins and through the losses.
Ahead of their home game tonight, the Rattlers will be without the services of Bowden, so their game plan has been adjusted accordingly.
We need to be diligent offensively. You know, a guy like Jordan can create his own shot and kind of, you know, get us out of some binds. So for us, we've really focused this week on making sure that we understand our actions, we understand where we can attack from, and that sort of focused offense can lead to better defensive transition.
Pierre-Louis, a former Los Angeles Lakers prospect, says he's settling in nicely at the guard position in Saskatchewan.
I've had stints of showing I could be a good playmaker, but I just think that it wasn't a full pledge of trust. But this team right here, they've trusted my abilities, and you know, you see the reaps of that benefit. So, you know, I'm really grateful for that.
It's a position other teams didn't see him in, but it's a fit with the Rattlers.
We've worked with Nate so much this year on his reads and how he can be a distributor. You know, I think that's the growth in his professional career of where he's going to become. He's been used in a lot of different ways, but point guard's probably his best way.
The homestand continues against Winnipeg Friday and Calgary Tuesday before 4 straight road games. John Flatters, CTV News, Saskatoon.
After a rainy first night of music, Country Thunder is getting ready for the second night of performances. Damian Smith has more on how organizers are looking to enhance the fan experience.
With Country Thunder Saskatchewan heading into the weekend slate, those working and volunteering at the festival are making sure everything goes as smoothly as possible. The Queen City Kinsmen are part of one large volunteer group that looks forward to bringing part of the experience.
We get our group out to volunteer. We all like walking the grounds and chatting with all the folks that come back year after year. And looking for their 50-50 tickets, so we always tell them, look for the orange shirt and call us over.
You know, we give them a call saying, hey, you want to come back? And they're always eager.
Country Thunder remains a staple in the Craven Valley and the Saskatchewan music scene, but organizers say what happens on the grounds goes hand in hand with the music and entertainment and getting people to come back next year.
It really does go beyond the main stage. That used to be the only focus at a festival, and, you know, just expanding on that fan experience and making it more than just music.
From selling 50-50 tickets to security and cleanup, the festival brings plenty of job opportunities, both paid and volunteer.
It gets them a lot of experience, whether you're working security for one of those companies, working cleanup crew.
For the Kinsmen, along with being part of the festival, it helps support their club and its initiatives.
Many of our kinsmen and connect clubs from around the province will come and help us out. And also they get some other ball groups, some charity groups come out to help them out, and they get a percentage of their sales.
As for the rest of the festival, there are still 2 days left over, with the Def Leppard performing here at Country Thunder for the first time in festival history. Damian Smith, CTV News, Craven.
Still to come, a new warning about scam text messages and Donald Trump's latest threats and how they could impact a Canada-U.S. trade deal. You're watching CTV News live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us tonight. The U.S. president is threatening to hit Canada with a 35% tariff beginning next month. The two countries have been working on a trade deal for months, but less than 2 weeks before the deadline announced by the Prime Minister, the president is not only doubling down, he's upping his threat. As Colton Prail reports, it has some wondering if a deal is even possible.
After weeks of pushing for a trade deal, Canada is staring down an even bigger threat.
Frankly, the friends have been worse than the foes in many cases. So
President Donald Trump now says he'll put in place 35% tariffs beginning August 1st. The White House says it wouldn't apply to energy tariffs or goods covered by the free trade agreement, but the president hasn't confirmed that.
We're going to see. It was sent yesterday. They called. I think it was fairly well received, but it's what we need. So we'll see what happens.
While some critics say the Liberals need to follow through on the elbows up mantra, Ottawa argues it is.
Canada is the only country on earth, along with China, that has imposed so many counter tariffs. So we have had already a very strong response.
Canada didn't retaliate when Trump increased tariffs on steel and aluminum and gave up billions foregoing collection of the digital sales tax after the president ended trade talks over the issue.
Carney's keeping his mind very much on the end game, which is to secure that economic and security framework with the United States.
Since last month, Canada's target for a trade deal has shifted. July 16th quickly became July 21st. And now Canada says the new target is August 1st, before counter tariffs will be applied. But it's the day before that deadline that could make all the difference. That's when the U.S. Supreme Court is set to decide if Trump's executive order tariffs are legal.
The last possible hope for Canada. We can't trust a deal with the president. Our only hope is the courts or Congress. And if we lose the courts, well, then we know where we stand.
The court decision won't impact tariffs on Canadian steel, aluminum, autos, or copper, all of which were applied under a different measure. Colton Prail, CTV News, Ottawa.
Goods that comply with the existing trade agreement with the U.S. will not be affected by the new tariff threat. But that isn't doing much to clear up confusion over just how big of a hit the Canadian economy would take. Abigail Beeman takes a closer look.
It's just so much fun.
The treasure bin at Rainbow Minerals may be fun. The trade war's impact on the small beading and jewelry supply business is not. American products are 25% more expensive, and they've stopped shipping south because the paperwork is too much. Ash Charania says there's lots of confusion and little help, with the new 35% threat making things worse.
The small businesses are being put in the middle as a pawn. And in the game of chess, those are the pieces that are thrown to the side to get to the bigger picture.
And they determine whether your goods qualify as.
The federal government does offer a guide and CUSMA compliance support phone line, though many don't seem to know about it.
The constant changing of the goalposts and the deadlines and the numbers continues, and that's quite toxic for business.
According to U.S. trade data, in 2024, only 38% of Canadian goods entered the U.S. under CUSMA, while RBC estimates 94% of Canadian exports were actually eligible. Experts say it's a matter of businesses not wanting to deal with the paperwork headache, as well as a lack of enforcement at the border.
Perhaps they thought the juice wasn't worth the squeeze because we were still getting into the United States duty and tariff-free. That is no longer the case, and so it is very vital that businesses do it.
In terms of the small list of products not covered by CUSMA, they include a few agricultural goods and some textiles, and others that don't meet the rules of origin requirements.
The vast majority of Canadian exports do qualify for tariff and duty-free to the United States.
Experts say getting that CUSMA certification is crucial as everyone waits to see what President Trump's final decision on tariffs may be. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
The U.S. president was in central Texas today, getting a first-hand look at the disaster zone a week after devastating flooding hit the area. The president was joined by First Lady Melania Trump as he surveyed the damage and met with local and state officials and first responders involved in recovery operations. Among the 120 confirmed dead and dozens of children and counselors at Camp Mystic, a private Christian summer camp for girls. The search continues for at least 170 people still considered missing. Texas is also facing another flood threat in the coming days, mostly in areas north of hard-hit Kerrville. There's a new warning about a scam text message which may be popping up on more phones. They're so-called smishing attacks, and it's getting harder to spot the scammers who are turning to artificial intelligence to make their bogus messages seem more legit. John Venevali-Rao reports.
The latest warning comes from the Competition Bureau, which says more people have been seeing those annoying scam texts pop up, claiming to be from agencies like Revenue Canada, or that you owe money for a toll highway, often including a link that scammers are trying to get you to click on. Janine Compton recently got one claiming she was caught speeding and had to pay a fine, and initially thought it might be real.
I almost got taken, but I didn't click on the link. I don't know what would have happened if I clicked on the link. I did not click. I just blocked the number.
Compton was the target of a scam known as SMS phishing or smishing. The texts often claimed to be from an actual organization or business. And while they used to contain things like spelling errors, making them easier to spot, AI services like ChatGPT are making them harder to detect.
Spelling mistakes used to be a tell, particularly when people had to write these messages themselves, and often it was people who didn't necessarily speak English as their first language.
The Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre warns AI can also allow messages to be sent out at a faster rate, and warns scammers are using AI to scrape information about you from the internet.
Some of the messages may include some of your personal information as an extra way to try to convince you that it's a legitimate message, right?
The advice: never click on suspicious links, ignore texts even if asked to reply with stop or no, and forward spam text to 7726 or spam. And of course, delete them to avoid accidental interaction. But as AI technology continues to improve, more people may fall victim, which is why the Anti-Fraud Centre and others want everyone to remain vigilant. John Venevali-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
All right, Jeff, the weekend is looking quite warm in many parts of the province.
Many parts of the province, we are looking at temperatures that are going to be, well, back to well above seasonal numbers as we head into Saturday and Sunday. Monday, things are going to cool off a little bit. We'll talk about that a little later on. Let's take a looky-loo at what we've got going on here. Currently, it is 24 degrees in Saskatoon and in the Battlefords. A bit more sunshine in the Battlefords right now. 25 degrees in Prince Albert. And as you can see, the winds are on the moderate side of the west or the southwest. And so, yeah, warm-ish winds. Let's take a look at Saskatoon's almanac. 23 degrees for a daytime high today. I think maybe I'm going to have to readjust that to 24. 25 is typical for this time of year, so still below seasonal, even if it is 24. 34, the record warm temperature for the 11th of July. That was set back in 1947. That still stands, and this one also still stands from 1993. The record cold temperature of 3 degrees, and the sun is going to go down at 9:25.
Coming up, exciting times for dinosaur experts in the province, discovering new details of Saskatchewan's history.
All right, welcome back, and we're taking a look through the live lens of Skycam. Well, we'll still have a little bit of smoke out there, but it is not as nearly as heavy or as impactful as it was earlier today. So you can certainly see a lot of blue through the haze, and as you can see, not a lot of traffic there. Anyhow, we're keeping our eye on this system that is finally moving out of Saskatchewan into parts of Manitoba and Ontario, a bit of a robust system in that respect, but also keeping our eye on this. Now, we anticipate that this system will slide through northern areas, maybe bringing with it some substantial rain, but right now we can't give you any specific numbers on that. Here we go with our numbers just to recap. 24 in Saskatoon, 25 in Prince Albert, and 24 in the Battleford. So yes, 24 is our daytime high today, not 23. Buffalo Narrows, the hot spot in the province at 27 degrees. East End, the cold spot at 5. Around the province we go. Currently it is 25 degrees in Lloydminster, 23 in Swift Current and Moose Jaw, 21 in Regina and Yorkton, 17 in Estevan. They've been dealing with some rain. 27 degrees in Meadow Lake, 23 in Kindersley and Rosetown and Watrous and Melfort and a whole bunch of other places, it seems like, and 21 degrees in Wynyard. And making our way up north, warm conditions there. 27 degrees in Buffalo Narrows, 24 in Stony Rapids, a little warmer than that in Collins Bay, Key Lake, and South End, 24 as well in La Ronge and Sandy Bay, Island Falls, 23 degrees. Down in southeastern Saskatchewan is 17 degrees in Carlisle, 18 in Broadview, closer to the Manitoba border there. And then as we make our way to the western side of the province, temperatures jump up 25 degrees right now in Leader in Maple Creek. Now taking a quick look at our future cast. Well, this is what I was talking about earlier on. We do anticipate more in the way of showers, but you can see how quickly it wrings itself out. And so we'll have to wait and see. And hopefully those particular showers as they move through northern Saskatchewan don't bring with them any lightning strikes that could spark up another wildfire situation. Air quality alerts are still in place for many parts of the province. There are also some air quality warnings out there as well. Cloudy skies for La Ronge and Stony Rapids tomorrow. Temperatures in this region in the high teens, low to mid 20s. Cloudy in Stony Rapids. Buffalo Narrows and Key Lake could see some showers tomorrow. As we take a look at west central Saskatchewan, temperatures of 27 or 26 degrees with mainly cloudy skies. Pretty darn close to that in the southwest. Maple Creek expected to get to 29, 28 for Leader. As we take a look at southeastern Saskatchewan, temperatures hover around 28 degrees with cloudy or mainly cloudy skies. And that sky situation similar in east central Saskatchewan, and so is the temperature pattern. Temperatures around 26, 27 degrees. So a warm Saturday setting up across much of the province. 13 degrees overnight for the Battlefords, increasing clouds and mainly cloudy skies tomorrow with a high of 27. 23 on Sunday, a coolish. 19 on Monday, 21 on Tuesday, and slowly working its way back up to 24 on Friday. And for Prince Albert and area, more clouds, but the good news is the air quality is improving. The risk value is going to be moderate, and then tomorrow we're anticipating it's going to be low. 27 degrees tomorrow, winds out of the northwest, 20 gusting to 40. 24 on Sunday, Monday 20, and then again a slow build back up to seasonal values. Mainly sunny on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and getting up to 24 on Thursday and Friday as well. Tonight in Saskatoon, temperatures drop down to 13 degrees with increasing clouds. The air quality index expected to be at 2, which is low risk. Tomorrow, 27 for a high, and then as we take a look at Sunday, 24. Monday, a chance of showers, 19 degrees, and that slow build back up to 24 degrees by Friday under mainly sunny skies. Justin Bieber surprised fans today with his first new album in more than 4 years. The Canadian pop star dropped his much-anticipated but still surprised 7th album, Swag, at midnight. Bieber says it's his most personal record yet and delves into his life after welcoming the birth of his son. Song titles include Dad's Love, Therapy Season, and Walking Away. Swag is a follow-up to his last album, Justice, released back in 2021. He's still doing it. Sir Paul McCartney has set his first North American tour since 2022, and so far there are 3 Canadian shows to look forward to. The legendary singer-songwriter added a number of new dates to his Got Back World Tour. McCartney will be in Montreal for back-to-back shows, November 17th and 18th, and then he'll move on to Hamilton for November 21st. General sales tickets are available July 18th. In other words, a week from today.
Question myself in the same situation and consider the consequences.
People were going to die.
Recently.
The latest version of Superman hits theaters this weekend. The Man of Steel is back on the big screen, played by David Corenswet, directed by James Gunn. Deadline's latest box office projections suggest Superman could bring in more than $115 million US this weekend across North America. That's likely to put it well ahead of last week's #1, Jurassic World Rebirth.
All right, Jeff, time for pick of the day. What do you have?
Well, we have a bunch here. We got a bunch. Well, it's 4. It's 4. But this one comes to us from Brian Martin. He sent this in this morning, and he sent us a few, but this is one we really enjoyed. We took this yesterday, 30 minutes outside of Lloydminster. This is on an alkali slough that has dried out. The wind was blowing, and the scenes it produced are almost mystical, beautiful, at the same time, very sad. But that is, yes, it's got a very dystopian kind of look there. So, Brian, thank you for sharing that image with us. The next one comes to us from Christy. And you know what? This is Max. And while wandering the Weir path and having just passed the pelicans and the geese, Max smiles with astonishment. That's a good-looking dog. There you go. Thanks, Christy, for sharing that. And Anne sent us this from Saskatoon, but she took this out of town. She says, "Hi, Jeff. This first picture is an avocet chick. The second picture is of an adult avocet." There you go. There's the grown-up. And these pictures were taken near Blackstrap on Sunday. So some lovely critters there. And thanks for the younger and the older version. And we appreciate that. It's a little lesson there, a learning time for us. Anyhow, CFQCnews@ctv.ca is the email address where you can send your images, and some of them will get on the screen.
Still to come on CTV News, the Riders look to stay undefeated. But up next, exciting discoveries out of the Royal Saskatchewan Museum. Some new and exciting discoveries are surfacing out of the Royal Saskatchewan Museum and T-Rex Discovery Centre in East End. Researchers are not only working on new findings involving Saskatchewan's very own Scotty the T-Rex, but also another dinosaur dating back more than 66 million years. Angela Stewart has that story.
On a hill above the town of East End, experts at the T-Rex Discovery Centre are working to uncover the stories buried in Saskatchewan's prehistoric past.
One of the projects that we currently have on the go is with the University of Regina is looking at preserved blood vessels that are trapped inside some of the ribs where they've broken and then healed over the blood vessels.
Those blood vessels are from the province's most legendary fossil, Scotty, a Tyrannosaurus rex dug up near East End 34 years ago. Scotty is still a main attraction for Regina's Royal Saskatchewan Museum and researchers alike, but they're just one part of a bigger 66-million-year-old picture.
Things like fossil plants, things like pieces of amber that allow us to reconstruct the whole ecosystem so we get some sense of what the forest looked like around it and some of the other plants and animals that were living alongside it.
East End is a prehistoric hotbed. There are more than 30 dig sites in this area, each revealing even more. The Chambly Coulee is rich in prehistoric history. Many dinosaurs have been uncovered, including Scotty the T-Rex and Frankie the Triceratops. Both were discovered just hills apart from each other.
Usually bones are brought from the Royal Saskatchewan Museum to here for us to work on. So this year instead we decided to pull out a jacket that's been waiting for 31 years, and that is Frankie the Triceratops.
Believed only to be a partial skull, Frankie's fossils were found around the same time Scotty was unearthed. Research on the Triceratops specimen was put on hold for more than 3 decades. Not a long time compared to Frankie's 60+ million years buried under the dirt, but Frankie's wait is finally over.
Scotty was definitely, top of the priority list, and then Frankie, which is a Triceratops and one of the more common dinosaurs we have in the province, just kept getting pushed back.
These fossils are being cleaned and prepped, a delicate process that involves sweeping away the sandstone and any loose shells attached to the bone.
It's been a month and we've already exposed most of the material in the jacket. We've found one of the horns that would be like the one that sits above its eye there, and then some of like the frill and skull, so like that back shield on its neck.
According to Black, past research on other Triceratops have revealed signs of injuries, like a broken neck, their bones showing signs of fusing back together. Now they're looking to reveal Frankie's own story, one that's been locked away and buried for millions of years.
We're hoping to find some bones that you don't typically find in Triceratops, particularly called the palate bones, so like the roof of their mouth. They're a pretty rare thing to find, but they can help give us insights into diet.
The work at the T-Rex Discovery Center is expected to be wrapped up at the end of the summer as the team works to add more pieces into a delicate mosaic that forms a picture of Saskatchewan's prehistoric past. Angela Stewart, CTV News, East End.
When we come back, the Canadian Championship dream comes to an end in Prince Albert. Then exciting news for Canadian roller coaster fans.
All right, welcome back. Just a quick update on the air quality index in a few places. In Prince Albert, it is slowly improving. It was 8 about an hour ago, and now just a little after 6, updated by Environment Canada, is now at 5, so that's in the moderate part of the scale. Saskatoon was at 3, it's still at 3. But Regina, of course, we mentioned that we backed off the start time of the Rider game. It will be better by the time we get to the second half, but right now it's still on the high side and not really improving until, as I say, later this evening around 9 o'clock, and that will still be moderate risk. So there you have it. What we have for tomorrow in store north and south of the Yellowhead, warm temperatures, mainly cloudy skies, pretty consistent right across our map right on these locations. And then let's take a look at down south. Does it change all that much? Not really. It bumps up a little bit. Coronach, quite warm at 31 degrees, 27 for East End, 29 in Maple Creek, in Assiniboine and Rock Glen. But some warm temperatures in southern Saskatchewan as we make our way into tomorrow. And what do we think about Strasbourg? Well, warm conditions in Strasbourg as well. 29 degrees with partly or mainly cloudy skies. Winds out of the west, 20, gusting to 40, so a bit breezy at times. And Strasbourg is one of the places where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
Canada's dream of winning the World Men's Softball Championship in Prince Albert has come to an end. The red and white fell 7-3 to world number 1 Argentina last night. With a loss, Canada is eliminated from medal contention at the WBSC Men's Softball World Cup Finals. Reigning world champions Australia have also been eliminated. Japan, the U.S., Venezuela, and New Zealand have advanced to the Super Round and will compete for the title. Canada is playing the Dominican Republic right now in a placement round game. Anticipation is high as the Riders take on the Calgary Stampeders tonight.
Whatever gets the fans excited and here to watch some great football, I'm all for it. Call it whatever you want. Call it the Rider Bowl if you want to. I don't care. Like, let's have some fun with it and make it more exciting. And I think this is a battle of 2 good teams to start the season, but who we're going to be later in the season is going to be completely different. And to me, it's about what type of team are we becoming. And so tomorrow, it's just about us just becoming a better team through this 60 minutes.
Saskatchewan reigns the sole undefeated team in the CFL heading into tonight, while Calgary sits just 2 points back of the Riders' second place in the West. Saskatchewan scored the most points per game through 4 games. Kickoff has been pushed back due to air quality. It's now expected to go at 7:45. Toronto's index of gold stocks traded close to record highs today as some nervous investors seek shelter in precious metals from the latest trade troubles. Andrew Bell with the details.
Hello there. The TSX Gold Mining Index rose today as bullion prices climbed again, lifted by fears of economic disarray sparked by the latest trade threats from Washington. The price of gold itself topped $3,370 US an ounce, only just down from last month's record high, north of $3,430. Over the past year, the gold stock index in Toronto has produced a fat total return of about 49%. U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to boost tariffs on Canadian imports to 35% from 25%. U.S. officials say the new rate will affect goods that don't fall under the Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade agreement, but the situation remains fluid. The U.S. leader also suggested hiking levies on multiple countries. On the markets, the Canadian dollar was at 73.04 US cents. It came under pressure, losing about 1/5 of a cent. West Texas Intermediate oil changed hands at $68.54, up $1.98. Our latest fix on Western Canadian Select oil has it at $55, down $1.38. And the TSX slipped from yesterday's record closing high. It ended at 27,023.25, and it was down just over 59 points. That's the latest in business. I'm Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg.
Coming up, a boy eager to win on a claw machine gets more than he bargained for. Then a record-breaking Canadian roller coaster is set to open.
Select Hair Service is brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Well, a boy in Ohio who is desperate to win a prize from a claw machine found himself being the prize for rescue crews. Surveillance video caught the moment the boy managed to climb inside a stuffed animal claw machine at a community center in Cincinnati this week. The child can be seen peering into the prize door before shimmying inside. He then climbed all the way inside and became trapped. When employees found him, they unplugged the machine and rolled it to a nearby store. Crews eventually opened the back and freed the child without injury. So,
okay. What kind of community centers do they have in Ohio? It looks like a mall.
It does look like a mall, but
okay, whatever. Anyhow.
All right. Well, speaking of wild dreams, this is just for you.
Where's the babysitter? Because they just lost their tip.
At the roller coaster park.
There you go.
Canada's biggest theme park is set to open a record-breaking roller coaster this weekend.
Callaway Park?
To Canada's Wonderland, north of Toronto, will be able to ride Alpine Fury starting tomorrow. The ride is billed as the longest, tallest, fastest launch coaster in the country. Alpine Fury is the park's 18th roller coaster and features 9 inversions.
Rock on.
Sounds terrifying.
That is dynamite stuff.
Yeah. So you can check it out for us.
I will. I think it's time for me. I didn't realize they had 18 coasters at Canada's Wonderland. That's pretty cool.
Well, it's time you go pay a visit.
I think it is.
Use up all that vacation time you've got going on.
Well, I got a lot. That's true. Yeah.
All right. These are courtesy of Chad Hills, one of our photographers here. We're going to leave you with some beautiful images of the prairies tonight. Have a safe and happy weekend. Thanks for watching.
These are gorgeous pictures.
Yeah.
Way to go, Chad.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, folks.